I'd only babysat once before. This was my first real job, and doing it alone. No backup, no older cousin helping me out. Just me, a Friday night, and a sleeping 1-year-old in a nice house near La Mesa. The parents were friendly, a little overprotective, but that's understandable. I made sure I had their Wi-Fi password, snacks in the kitchen, and a number to call if I needed anything. They also showed me the baby monitor, one of those video ones with night vision. Just keep an eye on her, the mom said. She sleeps through the night. If you see anything, check right away. It sounded easy. The baby went down around 8. I set the monitor on the coffee table, grabbed some chips, and started scrolling through TikTok with the TV low in the background. Around 9:45, I glanced at the monitor. The baby was asleep, curled up with a stuffed bunny. The room looked calm, nothing weird. At least, not at first. When I looked closer, my stomach dropped. There was someone else in the room. Someone tall, standing perfectly still beside the crib. The figure wasn't moving. I couldn't make any of its features out. It just looked like a shadow, frozen there, like it had been there the whole time, never moving. I froze. I told myself it must be a glitch. Maybe the monitor was lagging. Maybe it was some kind of reflection. But when I leaned closer, the figure's head tilted, just slightly, enough to know it wasn't a glitch. I didn't even think. I ran upstairs, heart slamming against my ribs. I burst into the nursery, lights on, with the monitor clutched like a weapon. The room was empty. The baby was sound asleep, breathing soft and steady. No one was there. I let out a shaky laugh. I was convincing myself, it's fine. It must have been a glitch. But when I looked back down at the monitor in my hand, the figure was still there, standing right beside me. I took a babysitting job last summer, mostly because I needed extra cash and the family seemed nice enough. They lived in this old 2-story house on the edge of town. One of those places with creaky stairs, narrow hallways, and wallpaper that looked like it hadn't been changed since the 70s. The parents were heading out for a late dinner and told me their 2 kids, Emma, 8, and Caleb, 6, would probably fall asleep early. Easy money, right? Just as they were about to leave, Emma tugged on my sleeve. She looked dead serious. Don't open the basement door. I laughed, thinking it was some kind of game. I said, why not? She didn't smile. Caleb shook his head behind her. The last babysitter did. Mom brushed it all off with a laugh, saying, oh, they like to tell spooky stories. And then they were out the door, just like that. No explanation. What's up with the basement? Are you serious? So I figured it was just something the kids were making up. Until about an hour later. The house had gotten real quiet. I had both kids tucked in upstairs. I was sitting on the couch playing on my phone when I heard something. A scratching sound. From down the hall. I turned down the volume on my phone to hear it better. There it was again. Scratching. I realized it was coming from the basement door. I told myself it was probably just some kind of house noise. I've heard these before in other houses, but then I heard something different. A voice. Soft, childlike, calling my name. come down here. I froze. My stomach dropped because I knew both kids were asleep. I had checked them about 10 minutes ago. Then the voice came again, a little louder this time. I heard Emma's giggle, clear as day. I raced upstairs, looked at the kids. They were both in bed, sound asleep, breathing steady, out cold. When I came back down, the scratching had stopped, but now the basement door was open, but it was just a crack. I swear I hadn't touched it. I walked towards it slowly, every part of me screaming not to look inside. The gap was just wide enough for me to see pitch black, like the kind of black that swallows up the light around it. Then, by itself, the door inched wider. I didn't stick around to see what was waiting. I slammed it shut, locked it, and pushed a chair against a knob. I sat awake the rest of the night, watching the door. When the parents got home, I tried to play it cool, but as I was leaving, Emma came halfway down the stairs, still half asleep, and whispered, "You let it out, didn't you?" It was just another babysitting job. Easy money, or so I thought. The kids' parents were out at some late dinner in La Jolla, and I was left in charge of their two little ones, Ethan, who was 7, and his sister Lily, who was 5. The night was going fine. We played a board game, watched some movies, and I finally got them to bed around 10. The house was quiet, and I figured I'd watch makeup tutorials until the parents got back. That's when I heard it. The sound of tires in the driveway. It seemed to be a little bit early, though. At first, I figured maybe the parents came home early. I peeked through the blinds. A black sedan pulled up, with the headlights off. A man got out, tall, wearing a dark jacket. He walked right up to the front door. I waited until the knock came. It was slow and deliberate. "Who is it?" I called, trying to sound braver than I felt. His voice came back calm. "The parents asked me to come get the kids. They're in the hospital. They got in a car accident. Let me in, please." Every alarm in my head went off at once. The family hadn't mentioned anything about someone else picking up the kids, so I couldn't let this happen. I kept my voice steady. "Just a minute." I grabbed my phone and stepped into the kitchen, trying to call the parents. While the line rang, I heard tiny footsteps upstairs. "Guys, back in bed," I whispered, trying not to sound panicked, but I was. But they didn't listen. Ethan and Lily came downstairs in their pajamas, their faces pale. They went straight to the window by the front door before I could stop them. Lily came to me, tugged on my sleeve, and whispered, "That's him." "Who?" I whispered back. Her voice was so small, it barely carried. "That's the scary man. The one who always looks at our mommy." I felt my stomach drop. The parents finally picked up the phone. Before I could speak, the man outside was knocking again, harder this time. The kids pressed closer to the glass. "Don't open it," Ethan said, eyes wide. "Mommy said if he ever came, we had to hide." I looked back through the blinds. The man was staring directly at the peephole now, smiling like he knew I was watching. I whispered into the phone, "Do you know a man in a black car? He says that you sent him." The mother cut me off, panic in her voice. "Do not open that door. We never sent anyone." That's when the doorknob started to turn. I dropped the phone, grabbed the kids, and pulled them into the hallway. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely punch 911 into my phone. The operator told me to make sure every door was locked and stay hidden. The last thing I saw before dragging the kids upstairs was his face through the window, still smiling. The police showed up 5 minutes later. The car was gone. No footprints. No evidence that he had been there. But here's what I can't get out of my head. When the cops asked if they had seen him before, Ethan just nodded and said he was at Lily's school, watching Mommy in the parking lot. And Lily added, almost in a whisper, he said he was going to take her and us. Hey. Hey, come down here. Hey, come down here. Hey, come down here. Hey, 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 hey. 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 I'm here to get the kids. The parents sent me to come get them. They can't come right now. How about this? Hey, the parents... Guys, back in bed. I whispered, trying not to sound panic. Wait.